Morning, good morning, good morning. I am so glad that you are joining me on today. I just want to thank you all for joining me for our monthly book discussion. This is The Other Side of Healing by Tichamingo White. And if you don't have your copy of the book, you can go on Amazon.com and you can obtain your copy of my book, The Other Side of Healing. So, one thing as we are starting this morning, why don't you tell me where you are joining from? Type in the comments and let me know what city, what state you are joining me from. I'm so glad that you are taking time out of your schedule on today to come and share with me as we are pulling themes out of the book of The Other Side of Healing. And as we are pulling these themes out, this is a monthly book discussion, and you don't necessarily have to have the book in order to participate in the book discussion, but in order for you to understand some of the reference points that we may talk about during the book discussion, it's encouraging for you to grab your copy of that book on Amazon.com, and it is called The Other Side of Healing from Tichamingo White. So come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome one, welcome all. I'm so excited on today. And we're pulling a theme out of The Other Side of Healing on today from chapter 12. Chapter 12, the title of this particular um, chapter is called Support System. It's called Support System. And so we're going to take a look at chapter 12 of The Other Side of Healing, and we're going to look at the support system. And so we're turning to page 128 for those that have the book. This is chapter 12. And like I said, for the book discussion, you don't necessarily have to have the book in order to join the discussion. But in order for you to understand some of the references that we make, you need the book. So go ahead and support this. This is a worthy cause and endeavor. Half of the proceeds that I receive from the book sales, I filter it back through the mental health and wellness advocacy that I do, and I facilitate an annual workshop, and it's usually in May. So half of the proceeds from the book sales, it gets filtered right back into ministry, and this is full-time ministry. This is what God has called me into, and so I want to be found faithful doing what the Lord wants me to do. So as you are joining in, as you are coming in on today, type in the comments and let me know what city you are tuning in from, what state you are tuning in from, and drop me a hello. Yes, hello to you too. I'm so glad that you are joining us today. So let's get started with our book discussion. This is The Other Side of Healing by Tichamingo White. We are in chapter 12, and we're pulling the theme out of chapter 12. We're going to look at page 128, and I will read the last paragraph on page 128. One of the centralized themes from everyone that witnessed me go through my breakdowns was an overwhelming feeling of helplessness. I am thankful that I didn't go through this painful experience alone. I have been very fortunate to have people in my circle and that truly love and care about me. It's one thing to feel alone, it's a whole nother thing to actually be alone. Yeah, I can say that twice for the people in the back. Oh, yes. I know that sticking by someone's side during their time of need is key to anyone having a chance at properly overcoming the psychological residue from any traumatic event. So, this morning we are talking about just the support systems. And one thing I realized, that some of the things that were expressed from people that witnessed me go through the different stages and phases of what I went through, and for people that were there supporting me, was that there was an overwhelming sense of helplessness. Yeah, an overwhelming sense of helplessness. And one thing about traumatic events, because we're not God, right? But because we love on our people, and we love those that are in our circles, and we don't want to see them in pain, and we don't want to see them struggle or go through different things. But one of the overwhelming expressions that a lot of people that were surrounding me during my time of need, one very one critical thing that they all expressed was they felt helpless. And one thing I realized about the trick of feeling helpless is that, number one, it's a lie. Even when you feel like there's nothing you can do, even when you feel like your hands are tied and you're not sure how you can support somebody, or you're not sure how you can be there for somebody. But one thing I have realized about that overwhelming sense or feeling of helplessness is that it's a lie. And it's a lie that has been created to try to hurt, distract, and pull people apart. And sometimes when you're in a vulnerable state and someone you love is experiencing something traumatic, when you have that overall feeling of, man, I need to be doing more, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, and then you feel overwhelmed because you don't know what to do, and then what you are doing, it seems like it's never enough. I want to help us out right there. Even though you experience that overwhelming sense of helplessness, don't give up. Don't become despondent. Don't become overwhelmed or beat down because you have that sense of, I don't know what to do, or you feel like what you're doing is not enough. Just know that whatever support that you are offering, it's going a long way. It's going to be able to touch not only the individual that's going through the situation, but it also will help later on when the person is regrouping and regathering themselves, and they're just thankful and have a spirit of gratitude as they are reaching back to see who was surrounding them during their time of need. And so it's critical that we don't believe the lie. Don't believe the lie of that overwhelming feeling of helplessness. It is a lie, because even if you're going and you're extending your time to someone that's in need, even if you never say a word out of your mouth, maybe you don't have the words to say, maybe you don't know, how to comfort them. And sometimes words are not enough, and sometimes they are. Sometimes your presence, just being there in the same space as the person that's going through whatever they're going through, is critical, it's vital, and it's helpful, and it's probably supporting them on a whole nother level, even if they may not be able to articulate or recognize or say thank you at that particular time. But just know that your very presence during someone's time of need will do what it needs to do. So we can't believe that lie that has been created and fostered, because I know, when you look back on watching people go through debilitating things and watching loved ones suffer a physical condition or a mental condition or whatever it may be, when you see someone that you care about struggling and you're like, man, I wish I could just give them everything that they need to make all of that go away. And that's usually the sentiment of the support system. That's usually how everyone feels that is supporting it. um, it fosters this sense of like, man, yes, I'm praying. And we thank everyone for lending their prayers when you see someone going through a difficult time. And you're like, man, it just doesn't seem like prayer fits right here. Or it seems like I need to be doing something else, because you care about your loved one and you don't want to see them hurt. But just know that you can't believe the lie of helplessness. So type in the comments where you're joining me from. What city are you tuning in from? What state are you tuning in from? This is the monthly book discussion on the other side of healing. Like I stated before, you can get your copy from off of Amazon.com. And this is a worthy ministry. And I'm not just saying it because I'm the facilitator, but it pours back into community conversations. It pours back into advocacy for mental health and wellness. It allows me the opportunity to teach and offer other courses and other things to help aid people where they are on the journey. So today we are just discussing support systems. And one thing I was talking about was just the trick of feeling helpless. Like you don't know what to do for somebody, you don't know how to help them, but just know that your very presence of being around somebody during their time of need, it makes a difference. So that's one thing. Feeling like you're helpless, it's a lie, so don't believe the lie. And it causes, or it may cause, the feelings to be worse. So sometimes when you are in a situation where your loved one is in a particular situation, and when your loved one is going through certain things, um, it can make what they're going through worse, or it can make their symptoms worse, because a lot of times they're picking up on things that are around them. They're picking up on, how people are feeling, or how people are responding. And so, you just want to make sure that just you don't give up. Yeah, it's so important. Good morning. God bless you. I see you out there, Daria. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. But yes, so that is a lie. The trick of feeling helpless when people are going through things, it's a lie when you feel like your hands are tied, and what you are doing when it feels like it's not enough. The enemy will try to box you in. He will try to discourage you and try to get you to kind of pull away from being present in the time of need for your loved one. So just know that it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And it can really make the difference of someone coming out of that thing stronger and recovering faster because they have this support system. So support systems, oh my goodness, can you imagine going through life if you didn't have the support of the support of, it may be your mom, it may be your dad, it may be your cousin, it may be your sibling, it may be your uncle, it may be your auntie, it may be a minister, it may be a co-worker, it may be someone that is surrounding you. It may even just be the support of someone pointing you in the right direction to resources that are in the neighborhood. Whatever the support is, it may be the person that's the primary caregiver of the one that's going through some things. And it may be them coordinating and connecting the dots and advocating on your behalf to help you in your time of need. So we have to make sure that that trick of feeling helpless doesn't consume you. Oh my goodness. Because sometimes those thoughts, they like to do rope-a-dope. They like to back you up and have you on the rope where you can't go nowhere, and and you fighting and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. But just know, don't believe the lie, and that you are critical, you are vital, and whatever support you are lending to your person in their time of need, I'm sure if anybody has ever needed anything and then they had people that were supporting them during their time of need, I'm sure they were thankful. And if they never said thank you, I'm going to say thank you on today. Thank you for all of your support. For anybody that has ever needed a support system to step in. It may not always be from your immediate family. It may be strangers that God sends by to come and bless you and come support you during your time of need. But just know, whatever it may be, just know that it is critical and it is vital. So another trick of feeling helpless is it makes you feel as though you can't change the course of the situation. And one of the things is when that debilitating feeling of, man, we just want to fix things, right? Mothers are naturally nurturers, grandmas are naturally nurturers, and people that just have that sense of, oh, let me just do this, let me put my mommy hands on it, or let me put my grandma hands on it, or let me put my sisterly hands on it, because we just want the person to be better, we want them to be stronger, and we want them to recover quickly, we want them to be well. And that's okay, that's okay. And so this is the truth of helplessness. You must rest on God. And what do I mean by that? As you are in a support system, you have to realize that everything that you are giving, it's rooted and grounded in the Lord. And you have to take confidence in the fact that God has given you the wherewithal to be able to stand up and rise to the occasion and to help during that time of need. Yeah. So support systems are really critical. So you got to realize that you must rest on God. And then also you must gain peace from God. Because one thing I have experienced, when somebody's going through a traumatic experience, their thoughts are all over their place. Their emotions are all over the place. They will be experiencing so many different emotions, and they can be up one minute and down the next. They can be laughing, then they can be crying. And, you can be all over the place. And you have to realize that the support systems that God puts in place is important, but you have to tap into the peace that God gives. You have to be able to tap into the peace that the Lord gives. So that's one of the things that you have to realize too. The truth of helplessness is that you must rest in, you must press into the Lord, and you must gain peace from God. And then you've got to surrender. You got to surrender, like your overwhelming desire of just pushing the easy button to fix the situation. Because let's just face it, we want to fix it. We want to push that easy button. We want to see our loved ones in a better place, in a healthier place. So we have to make sure that we realize what's going on, and that we lean into the Lord, we rest, and we have confidence that the Lord is going to make it all right, even when the situation seems bleak and dismal. Woo! And sometimes those situations, they can linger. And then when you have family members that are sick for an extended period of time, and then those that are caregiving for that individual, it can be taxing on them. So support systems are in place so that not one person is overwhelmed, so that not just one person is depleted. And then let me just say this as it relates to caregivers that give care for family members that may be going through something. You have to make sure that you take care of yourself in the process. You absolutely, I don't care if it's nothing but a good solid 15 to 20 minutes when you are in the shower and someone else is caring for your loved one. If you get a solid 15 to 20 minutes while you're in the shower changing your clothes, so you can, stand your guard again, or be able to care for your loved one, you have to make sure that it is carved out self-care time, so that you can release all of what you're going through. Because as a caregiver, caring for the needs of one of your family members, you have to take care of yourself. It's so important, because you're not going to be in any situation, you're not going to be healthy if you don't take care of yourself. I see you out there. God bless you. Type in the comments. Let me know what city and what state you are tuning in from. We appreciate you tuning in to this monthly book discussion about the other side of healing. For those that don't have their book, you can grab a copy of your book on Amazon.com, and so that you can be prepared for the month of January when we gather together to have the book discussion. So God bless you. I see you out there. Sister Jill, God bless you for tuning in. I appreciate your support and your love. And today we're talking about that, support systems. And one of the things that I look at within support systems, everybody's takeaway is going to be something different. It's as if you have four people standing on four opposite sides of a street and there's an accident that happens in the middle. You're going to have four different people have four different comments from their takeaway of what they experienced someone going through when they witnessed like a car accident. God bless you, Trey Ann. I see you out there. You in New Orleans tuning in. I love you, sis. I hope you enjoy yourself. But one thing I realized about when you're on four different corners and there's an accident, there's going to be four different takeaways from what a person witnesses as it relates to an accident happen. And what I'm talking about is support systems. Support systems, depending upon what the people are going through, they will have similarities, but they will all view things differently. They will all walk away from something different, but it's still a part of the support system. And so we are looking at page 128 on chapter 12 for those of you that have the book, and for those that don't have their book with them. I want to just read, because in this particular chapter, I quoted some of my family and friends that witnessed what I went through and some of the comment and feedback that they had to share as they were supporting me through what I was going through. And one of the experiences I want to share, and this is from one of my prayer partners, and I want to share this comment from what one of my prayer partners had to say. And this was the experience that I had when I moved to Columbus. This was an experience in 2007, and this is what my prayer partner had to say. And I don't drop names in my book. I don't. But I'm going to give an honorable mention today, because this particular prayer partner has consistently been a prayer partner of mine. And this person, we may not talk every day. We may not hang out. Even when I do see the person, we may not physically go anywhere. But how many of you know when you got a support system in place, it's just that people are always going to be connected with you. They're always going to pray on your behalf. And that's what this particular prayer partner of mine, that's the type of relationship we have. And this is Dr. Seth. This is what he had to say when he witnessed me go through a psychotic break in 2007. And I quote, "What I remember most vividly is how I felt being at the hospital, unable to reach you. I was sad, eager, and a bit anxious to help, but frustrated because I couldn't reach you. You were unreachable in many ways. And all I could do was pray. Be present with your family and let God continue to work through the process. I felt a bit helpless. There was a sharp sense that was out of my hands, as well as out of the hands of those closest to you, like your mother. When I entered the hospital, your ex-husband was blocking even your mother from seeing you. Then, of course, the medical facilities were protecting you. And lastly, you weren't yet coherent. So I adjusted and realized it would just take some time before you were reachable again. There was a process of repair you had to go through in order to be reachable again." And that reachable phrase that he meant was the nature of what I went through. It was the nature of what I experienced. And anyone that has ever been around a family member that has had a psychotic break, and that simply just means in layman's terms that you break from reality. That means that you can't distinguish between what's real and what's not real. And you're physically there, but your mind is not there. You don't have the ability to grab a hold of rational things. You don't have the ability to articulate what's going on with you. You don't have the ability to even express, hey, I need help. And so that unreachable stage that Dr. Seth was talking about He witnessed me in that state. And not only him, but my family members, my church family, and even the community. And when I say the community, the personnel at the hospital that were trying to help me get back to planet Earth, if you will, for lack of better expression. I could probably use some other things to describe the experience, but you're not yourself. You're not coherent. A lot of the things that you can understand, you have no way of understanding it during a psychotic break. So, one of the things about the support system and being in a support system is that you don't know what type of support to give. You don't know if it's going to be received, and you're always going to have a sense of, man, I need to be doing more. But I want to encourage us on today not to be discouraged, not to be feeling down and overwhelmed, but keep your head about yourself. And if you are praying on behalf of whoever the person is that's in need, it doesn't matter what type of need it is. It doesn't matter if it's a health situation or some other situation that causes you to be able to be in a position to support somebody on whatever level. If you can pray for that person, and I know people say, oh man, just praying, it just doesn't seem like it's enough. It can reach places that your physical presence can't reach. Yes, because you're calling on the all-seeing, the all-knowing God to intervene on behalf of your family member. But as you are praying and calling on the name of the Lord, you have to take a step back and rest, like I said earlier, rest in the fact that God is doing his part. And even if the situation doesn't immediately change, you have to have confidence that God is going to look after your family member. Yeah. So that's what I want us to walk away with as we are discussing support systems. And one of the things that I realize we can see a good example of support systems in the Bible in Acts chapter 4. And I want to read verse 34 and 35 of Acts chapter 4. Neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. One thing about support systems, they make sure that whatever the need may be of someone surrounding them, they make sure that everybody has what they need. That's the first thing. And secondly, they make sure that there's no lack. And in my particular situation, there was no lack of support. There was no lack of the care that was provided to me from my family members and from my church family members in the community. We may not have been able to take advantage of everything that was available, and perhaps maybe we did at that time. Maybe we did tap into everything that was available. But you have to make sure that the nature, the template of a support system, as we can see in Acts chapter 4, verse 34 and 35, is to make sure that every need is supplied. And sometimes that need simply may be the presence of the loved one standing in the gap and just physically being there to weather the storm with the person that's going through whatever they're going through. That's what I want to leave on that note today. So we're talking about the other side of healing. We're talking about how important, how critical support systems are. And we're making sure that we do not believe the lie of helplessness. Even though that's an expression that we say when our hands are tied, but just know that your very presence of being there with that person in their time of need will go further than anything else. So God bless you on today. Thank you for tuning in for our monthly discussion on the other side of healing. Be prepared for our January 2026. We getting ready to turn the corner when we gather to talk about the other side of healing and the book discussion. We're pulling themes out of the book. So grab your copy. You can find it on Amazon.com. And like I said before, you don't necessarily need the book to join the conversation, but I do appreciate your support, as this is a ministry that God has laid on my heart to be an advocate for mental health and wellness. So as long as I can, I'm going to advocate, and I'm going to encourage other people to take care of themselves as they are caring for their loved ones. And even as people are going through different things, just remember that even if you can just pray on behalf of someone that may be facing a challenging time, that's doing a lot. So God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great day today. And for those students that are going to be joining me for the Destroying Strongholds Masterclass at 12 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, I will see you on that private platform. So God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. And until January 2026, this is the conclusion for this year. Hooty hoo, hooty hoo. Every single month, we will be going through the book discussion and talking about different elements of mental health and wellness and advocacy. God bless you all.